his mom once lived. Derek said he kicked them out and treated his mom disrespectfully. It was time for him to pay. It was time for a carjacking, not unlike one of Pete's drawings. Derek knew exactly when the owner would leave the diner with a bag full of money en route to the bank. But when it came time for the real thing, Kevin, their leader, still a novice in crime, lost his cool.
He was mumbling, give me your wallet, give me your car keys. He was stumbling around.
The heist didn't go quite as planned. The owner had no bag of money. And Kevin forgot Pete's code name as he screamed at him to get in the stolen car and drive off. Frustrated, their anger quickly turned to violence. What did you do to his car?
We trashed it, beat it down for a while, just to entertain ourselves, get it out of our system.
How?
Beat it with our bare hands and
Your bare hands?
pipes and knives and rocks and
Made some dents in it.
hammers. So we made more than dents in it. We totaled it.
But you weren't there.
No.
What did you do?
I went home. I had a little curfew restriction with my parents. I had to come home before 10. I was a super criminal with a curfew.
Night was falling, and the lords of chaos had to go back to the shadows and become young men again, obeying parents and curfews and bedtimes. It was the last weekend they would ever be free. The following Tuesday night, Riverdale High School was alive. A warm Florida evening full of end-of-term activities. Mark Schwebees, the local school band leader, was holding an open house greeting next year's freshmen and prospective musicians. A student remembers that night.
He was dancing all around, laughing, very excited. He was really excited about the incoming freshmen. He really wanted the band to succeed a lot.
Mark had just finished his first year at Riverdale. He had been a Marine, grew up around Fort Myers, was one of those young, unjaded teachers. He enjoyed students, loved music. That night, as students and parents were leaving the school, the Lords of Chaos snuck in. They had decided to break some school windows. But then, by the school payphone, Mark Schwebees, on his way out, ran into Chris and another boy. He saw they were wearing rubber gloves, that their behavior was suspicious.
He wanted to know what we were doing. He was just concerned for his school.
What was going through your mind when he came up in front of you?
I really hope I don't puke on myself or things like that. How can I get away from here? What can I do? Should I run? Should I drop this?
You're beside yourself.
Yeah, literally, I'm looking for help in any direction.
They feared their past was about to catch up with them. You figured the Coke building would go down, the Tiki Hut, the church, all of that stuff.
Yeah, because everybody would know, and then it wouldn't be our secret anymore. And once that happens, you know, the whole fantasy world's dissolved.
But to the music teacher, the encounter seemed insignificant. He told them to expect a call in the morning and drove off. Later, in a restaurant, he casually told a friend about the brief encounter with the kids.
He said, I think they're up to no good. I said, well, you know, what happened? He said, well, I just told him, you know, don't be surprised if Montgomery doesn't call them to the office, which Montgomery is the school resource office, the deputy sheriff.
Meanwhile, in the nearby mall, since deserted, the Lords of Chaos, a group of angry, frantic teenagers, were now imagining the punishment to come. Could they do something to stop it?
Nobody knew what to do. And so threw something out there in the open, an idea. Everybody latched right onto it. That the man should be killed. No one disputed it. Everybody went for it. Group decision.
You said he has to die.
Yes.
Did you think about it before you said it?
No.
You were in a upset?
Very angry, very.
In a rage?
Oh, yeah.
In Berlin, you're watching NBC.
Share a big laugh with some big stars.
You know, kill somebody tonight. Is it just going to happen?
Murder. This wasn't childish fantasy. It was real life. But nobody said stop.
I would have spat on you.
They worked on detail. The boys had to get the teacher's address. To what you called information?
Yes.
Got his number?
Found his name and his number, then called again, and they rolled off his address.
They moved from the mall to Kevin's house. His mom wasn't there. Kevin assembled the tools. From the arsenal of guns in his bedroom, he picked a Mossberg 12-gauge pump shotgun and a silencer, even a map. But Derek, anxious in the living room, suddenly had second thoughts. Because Derek was the only boy in the room who actually knew Mark Schwiebes. He was his teacher. Mark had even driven him home from school. Derek says he told his friends, I could explain away our presence at the school. They'd believe me. But they say Kevin would take no dissension. They say he told them, someone has to die tonight.
There's Mark waving to us.
The boys stopped thinking about a human being named Mark Schwiebes. Now he was just an obstacle, some thing to get rid of.
You know, I'm trying to think of how it is to think I'm going to go kill a guy now and not equate the guy with his humanity.
If you did that, you probably wouldn't go kill him. I think you have to turn off that factor. You have to not think about that.
He didn't seem like a real human being.
It's just like you're watching something on TV.
No,
It's
we
kids.
were just kids.
Self-centered, you know, children.
So me, want, now.
Now they were 4 boys, back in the car, on their way.
Didn't take 4 people to do it.
No, of course not.
So why'd you all go?
I think Kevin needed an audience.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I see it. If he was by himself, he wouldn't have done it.
Wanted to be there, wanted to see what was going to happen. You know, it's like taboo, you know, somebody getting killed. Not many people are privy to that happening, you know, actually being a witness to it or playing a role.
At that point, you wouldn't want to miss it.
Yeah.
And it might give you a feeling of superiority having been through such a thing.
Yes.
Because, I mean, how many people can say, you know, we killed a guy last night?
As they approached the house, they finalized a plan. One of them would knock on the door. When the teacher opened it, Kevin, hiding in the bushes, would shoot. But who would be the one to knock? No one wanted to. Kevin gave the order. Derek will do it. Mark Schwiebes would recognize Derek from band practice if you looked through the peephole. But Derek couldn't move.
He didn't want to go to the door.
No. He really, really didn't want to do it.
Could he have simply refused? The murder might have been stopped right there. But it wasn't. Derek went. Pete and Chris stayed in the car. Derek approached the door and knocked. Mark Schwiebes opened. Derek would later say he only saw the teacher's feet as he ducked. From behind the bushes, Kevin leapt and shot. One bullet hit the teacher in the face. He fell to the ground in a fetal position. Kevin aimed again and put another bullet through Mark Schwiebes' buttocks. Now they ran. In the car, Kevin shouted the orders.
Just go. We need to get out of here. Let's go.
Derek was really screwed up.
Yeah, Derek was shaking.
How did you feel sitting in the car there once he'd come running out and sat down and Derek was there shaking like a leaf and you're driving off as fast as you can?
It didn't even really seem real to me.
Did you have that same sense of exhilaration that you'd had after the Coca-Cola fire, for example?
No, it is something different.
It's different.
I don't know, but it was just like
It's more final.
it seemed just like I was watching myself from outside.
It was there. It was over and done with. It was happening. You know, it's there. You gotta ride with it.
Later, they remembered, Kevin handed out cigarettes. He was elated.
He was so proud of himself, so full of himself. You know, he was like king of the world, on top of the world. He could do whatever he wanted now. You know, he just got away with the worst thing you can do. He was in the back seat with me as we were leaving. You know, I was like, what happened? What happened? He put his hand, up to in the midsection of his face, and he swept to the right.
Within minutes of the boys' departure,
Lee County 31-32426.
the machinery that deals with murder went into motion.
911, what is your emergency?
2 shots just fired near Park Meadow.
In the middle of the night, Mark Schwiebes' sister got a call from her father.
My dad was crying and said, something's happened to Mark. And I asked him what. He said, Mark's dead. And I tried to figure out, I asked him, was it a car accident? What was it? And he told me he had been murdered in his house.
In the morning, Mark's students arrived to school.
I walked into the band room and I seen everybody crying. It was a pretty bad day.
Went in the band room and everybody's hysterical, just crying. I couldn't believe it. I lost it. Mr. Schwiebes was like a big brother to me. He was just there for me, taught me things, gave me advice.
But among the band members crying in the music room was one who knew more than he let on. Derek, who just hours earlier knocked on the door to his teacher's demise, was now crying along with everyone else, comforting fellow students.
I was sitting against the gym wall, just like a vegetable. I couldn't do anything. I remember him coming up to me and telling me he knows how it feels and, you know, it's going to be okay, basically trying to say, he told me, you know, whoever did this is going to get caught and they'll pay for it.
I mean, why would you even come to school the next day? Just to see everyone's face, to see everyone how hurt they are? It doesn't make any sense.
Sheriff John McDougal headed the investigation, but detectives got a false start because the victim was shot in the buttocks.
So we tried to find out if Mr. Schwebe was involved in any kind of a love triangle situation, or if he had a bad relationship that was breaking up.
The hunt was on for a jealous lover, not angry kids. It seemed like the Lords of Chaos were again one step ahead of the game, beyond the law, safe in the shadows. Kevin collected newspaper clippings about the investigation. His friends say he felt indestructible. He decided to strike again.
Yeah, he wanted to do some kind of a movie theatrical, commando, Delta Force kind of thing.
As always, they aimed at the closest target around. They decided to rob the Hardys, where Pete and Derek worked.
Didn't I see a note about this suggesting that it was going to be Oscar performance time?
Yeah. Derek was going to be working that night, and one of us would take him hostage, like a little false hostage kind of deal, and bring him into the restaurant at gunpoint while the rest of us, you know, clean out the registers.
But Pete had a shift scheduled the night they planned the robbery. He may have helped murder a man that week, but he wasn't about to shirk his everyday responsibilities.
He called me saying, Jill, I really need Friday night off. You know, there's some stuff I want to do, but I really want to have that day off.
Because he, the murderer, wanted to rob you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why, that doesn't make any sense.
We thought he was being very conscientious.
In private, Pete was busy drawing maps and plans of the heist. He attached a note about his co-workers. If confronted, it said, do not hesitate to kill. But meanwhile, the murder investigation was about to turn.
A few days after the murder, you got a big boost.
Yes, we did.
What happened?
The girlfriend of one of the members of the Lords of Chaos called us and said that her boyfriend had told her that he had killed Mark Schwebes.
Her boyfriend boasted to her that he had killed somebody?
Yes.
Bragging to a girlfriend? That didn't sound like the Lords of Chaos. In fact, it wasn't. What happened was the code of secrecy gradually broke down. They talked about it in school, and the 14-year-old boy overheard. Then, in a misguided attempt to impress his girlfriend, he told her he had pulled the trigger on the teacher. She told her mother, who told the sheriff, and not long after that, in an investigation room, the boy broke down, changed his story, and gave the names. Chris Black, Pete Magnotti, Derek Shields, and Kevin Foster. And that Friday night, just 3 days after the murder, as the Lords of Chaos were en route to rob the Hardys, a sheriff deputy's car tailed them. And when the boys stopped, so did the car behind them.
The cops jumped down on us. That was it. It was over.
End of story. Flashlight in your face, gun to your back of your head.
Yeah.
Face against the wall.
And you knew from that very moment?
Oh, the very moment.
Yeah, it was over then.
When we return, the Lords of Chaos make a startling plea for leniency.